How's everyone doing? We're doing the top 10 most expensive EX Hidden Legend cards. This set came out quite a while ago, and if you have some of these cards, you might want to go into your down deep little shelves, bookshelves, whatever shelves to find them, because they're worth quite a bit, more than you'd think. Even uncommons and uncommons are worth a little priciness. But before we get into today's top 10 most expensive EX Hidden Legends, I want to let everyone know that next week, Friday, I'll be hosting my 8,250 subscriber giveaway, where I'll be giving away tons of Pokemon slabs, booster packs, god packs, and singles. You just have to be there May 10th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my YouTube Live for your chance to win. We last time gave away around 22 giveaways. I think the record's 25 now, so you don't want to miss out on that. Now, if you want to see a set or a Pokemon itself featured in next week's top 10 video, make sure you drop a comment down below letting me know what Pokemon or set you would like to see. Don't forget, if you can, and if you haven't yet, please hit that like button. And if you're not a subscriber yet to the channel, go ahead and think about subscribing. And if you want to, smash that subscribe button. Don't forget to help out a content creator and watch the video till the very end. Maybe turn on notifications, maybe share this with a friend. But let's get into it. Today's the top 10 most expensive EX Hidden Legend Pokemon cards. Starting off at number 10, we have ourselves Vileplume EX. This card is going for $26.54 with a PSA price tag of $267.81. This card's cheapest price was back in July of 22 at $18.61 with a height of $44 back in March of 22. At number 9, we have ourselves Groudon coming in with a $29.99 price tag. This card's PSA 10 price tag is going for $325 with a massive increase from a PSA 9.5. Like, sheesh, that is a huge jump. This card's most expensive card price was back in January of 21 at $62.64, with the cheapest price being recently in September of 23 at $19.84. At number 8, we have ourselves Groudon EX. This card's coming in at a price tag of $36 with a PSA 10 of $383 and a PSA 9.5, a little bit closer to the PSA 10 price than the last one at $197.28. This card's cheapest price was back in October of 23 at $27, with a highest price of a more recent time of February of 24 at $47.98. At number 7, we have ourselves Kyogre EX. Who else did you expect if we just had Groudon? Of course we're going to have Kyogre. Coming in at $38.15 with a PSA 10 price tag of $388.46. A bit of a price jump, almost 4 times as expensive as the PSA 9.5. This card is going for a high back in the day of $52.35. This was back in February 22, and the lowest this card was price tagged at was back in February of 21 at $24.99. At number 6, we have ourselves Metagross EX. This card is going for $38.65 with a PSA 10 price tag of $300.60. A PSA 9.5 going for $140.54. So it pretty much more than doubles in price from a PSA 9.5 to a PSA 10. This card's most expensive price tag was way back when in March of 21 at $49.30, with a low price tag more recently of February of 24 at $26.03. At number 5, we have ourselves Regirock EX. This card is going for $39.52 with a PSA 10 of $266.56. PSA 9.5 drops off with less than half of what the PSA 10 is worth. And the most expensive point of this card was back in January of 21 at $70, with a lowest price tag being back in January of 22 at $24.06. At number 4, we have ourselves Registeel EX. This card's going for $47.13 with a PSA 10 of $304.36. PSA 9.5 is pretty close behind it with $298. Only a $6 difference, where a PSA 9 drops more than $200. This card's most expensive price is going for $50.71. This was back in May of 21, and the cheapest this card was worth was back in August of 21 at $23.50. Now, before we get into the top 3, I am going to have to go over the top 5 honorable mentions, as these cards were pretty close in making it to the top 10, but not quite there. Don't forget to stay after the top 10 to see what the booster packs are worth, and if it's better to buy the booster packs or the cards individually. At number 5 of the honorable mentions, we have ourselves Dark Celebi going for $16.10 with a pretty high PSA 10 price of $420.01. You know, that 1 cent is so important. PSA 9.5 drops pretty drastically, almost 1/4 of what the price is of a PSA 10. The highest of this card was way back when in February of 21, going for $34.50, with its lowest price back in November of 22 at $7.06. Number 4 of the honorable mentions goes to Swallet. This Swallet pre-release stamp card, by the way, if it doesn't have the pre-release stamp on it, then is not going to be worth the price that is showing. Pre-release stamp is very important when you are watching these videos to pay attention to. This card's going for $17.13 with a PSA 10 of only $137.51. A PSA 9.5 drops drastically to $33. The most expensive this card was back in October, well, the late 2022s at $30.28. And the cheapest this card was back in May of 23 at $15.99. Number 3 of the honorable mentions goes to Plusle. This reverse holo is going for $17.68 with a nice jump in a PSA 10 at $426.61. PSA 9.5 does drop quite drastically to a 9.5. The most expensive this card was back in March of 21 at $30. And the cheapest this card was pretty recently, actually, back in January of 24 at $13.15. At number 2 in the honorable mentions goes to Ninetales Reverse Holo, going for $19.37 with a PSA 10 of $242.50. 9.5 drops pretty drastically to $59. The cheapest this card was back in July of 22 at $3.85. That is incredibly cheap. The most expensive this card was back in February of 24 at $20.89. Now time for the number 1 most expensive honorable mention Pokemon card. And that goes to Wigglytuff EX. Wigglytuff is going for $21.18 with a PSA 10 price tag of $304.11. PSA 9.5 is at $82. So again, a nice drastic drop down. Almost 4 times less than what a PSA 10 is. The cheapest this card was way back when in February of 21 at $11. And the most expensive this card was quite recently, back in January of 24 at $31.55. Now, it's time for the top 3 most expensive Pokemon cards from EX Hidden Legends. And don't forget to stay tuned afterwards to see what the booster packs are worth. Number 3 goes to, of course, Regice EX. This card is going for $41.83 with a PSA 10 price tag of $287.50. The cheapest this card was back in March of 22 at $27.88. And the most expensive this card was back in April of 23 at $45.20. Number 2, top 10 most expensive EX Hidden Legends Pokemon cards goes to Ninetales EX. This card is going for $66.66 with a PSA 10 price tag of $625 and that covenant really important 1 penny. PSA 9.5 drops almost in half to $327, but still a pretty high price. The most expensive this card was back in April of 21 at $120. With the cheapest this card being back in March of 23 at $36.63. Now it's time for the number 1 most expensive Pokemon card from EX Hidden Legends. Don't forget to stay tuned after this card to see what the booster packs are worth. Number 1 belongs to the Machop National Championship stamp EX Hidden Legends Pokemon card. This card is going for an ungraded price of $99.59 with no PSA gradings at all except for a PSA 9.5, which is only sold for $28. So believe it or not, it'd be cheaper to buy this card in a PSA 9.5 and break it out. No joke. If you want this card, don't buy it ungraded. Buy it in a PSA 9.5. Break it out of the casing, and you'll save yourself about $70. Heck, go ahead and regrade it. Maybe you'll get a PSA 10 worth a lot more. This card's price has not changed pretty much at all from when it first got onto the selling market back in September of 23, all the way to the current date. Now, with all these cards being as cheap as they were, you got to ask yourself, how much does a booster pack cost? Well, let's see how much of a booster pack costs of EX Hidden Legends. And then we'll see what a booster box is going for. A booster pack is going for $197.25. And if you don't think that's expensive enough, go ahead and buy it in a PSA 10 at $610. The most expensive this booster pack was back in September of 22 at $306. Wow, it's $109 more than what it is now. And the cheapest this booster pack was back in July of 21 at $146.25. So seeing this booster pack worth as much as it is, and seeing all the prices of the other cards, if you do want to get EX Hidden Legends completed as a set, and if you're just starting off, it would be extremely cheaper to buy the cards individually. So, if you're wondering now what a booster box costs, let me go ahead and show you. An EX Hidden Legends booster box costs $9,309. There obviously is no graded booster boxes, but think about that. 36 packs times $197. Yeah, that's not even gonna go over that's gonna be maybe quick math, $6-7 grand, maybe $7 grand. So you can, if you want the booster packs, it's cheaper to buy 36 booster packs than the box itself. The cheapest this box was back in June of 23 at $3,800. Wow, that's actually really cheap. And the most expensive this booster box is worth is actually the current price tag at $9,300. absolutely insane for some OG packs. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed today's top 10 most expensive EX Hidden Legends Pokemon cards. If you would like to see a set or a Pokemon individually itself featured in next week's top 10, make sure you drop a comment letting me know which set or Pokemon you would like to see, and maybe it will be featured next week. Don't forget, May 10th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'll be hosting another live YouTube giveaway event in celebration of 8,250 subscribers. And if you have not yet, please go ahead and hit that like button. And if you enjoyed today's video and you want to see more content like this, hit that subscribe button as well. There's also membership options available for anyone who is interested. Check them out. You don't have to do it if you don't want to, but it's there to see. All right, everyone, you know the saying, so say it with me. And if you don't know the saying, prepare to learn it. Let's make Hollows great again. And as always, keep poking on. I hope everyone has a fantastic rest of the day, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.